Hi there, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thanks for joining me today for a little bit of free therapy. So, have you started thinking about the new year yet? Have you thought about what might be missing for you in terms of goals for this year? What you want to work on for next year? Or maybe something you just want to improve? Maybe your relationship, maybe a new job is on the horizon for you. If so, you're in the right place. We are hardwired to think about what is not working, what we don't have, what we didn't get. My child is a perfect example of how this happens in a really simple way. He's not an unappreciative child by any stretch, but he did say how he remembered what happened last year gift wise and how this year is, really different for him. So, it's not that he's, again, unappreciative. It's just that we're just hardwired to notice what's missing. And your kids may be doing the same thing here at Christmas, talking about what they didn't get for Christmas. So we do concentrate on what we don't have. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nicole Hoffman. I am a licensed professional counselor here in Greensboro, North Carolina. But I have come up with a system that I think can help all of us, regardless of where you're located. You don't have to come see me in order to use this system. And I'm going to explain what it is in just a minute, give you some tips and tricks for how to leverage your new year of 2018 to make it your best year yet. But I think it's important, and that's why I'm sharing this with you today. I think it's important that you know a little bit of background, a little history of me and how I came up with this system. Because I have been where you are. I have been stuck. I have been in a position of not knowing how to fix what was going on or where to start. And so I'm going to share this with you just a little bit. So if you are feeling stuck, listen to this story because it's about the most challenging client I've ever had. And that client is myself. So I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the fall of 2012, and I had taken on a lot. I had just moved out of state with my husband for a job opportunity for him. I left all my friends, I left all of my family, and a house that I loved and a town that I had been in for close to 10 years to pursue this opportunity for my husband. I underestimated the loneliness and the sadness that I would feel by just totally turning my life upside down. And ordinarily, I would say I would be able to bounce back from that. However, I had bigger problems still. My son's father was waging a huge custody battle because I had moved out of state. Understandably so. It was a distant move, and I suddenly had all this drama that I really wasn't anticipating, and court appearances, lawyer bills, just a whole host of other pressing issues that compounded my loneliness. It compounded my sadness, and it really threw me into a bit of despair. I decided that I could get a handle on this. I could pull myself out of this. And so I decided to work out like crazy. I ate really, really clean. I talked to people, anybody I could. I talked to therapists. I talked to lawyers. I talked to my best friends. And I talked to my husband until I was blue in the face about our issue. But at the end of it all, I could hardly get through any of those conversations without dissolving into tears. It became a real issue, and when the days and weeks passed and I felt myself sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into my own self-pity, I knew that something had to change. I was drinking too much Corona. I was eating way too much Mexican food and cleaning my house obsessively as I ruminated about my situation, my problems, and my sadness. I knew that if I didn't do something soon, that I would drown in my own self-loathing, shame, and self-pity. So I couldn't see a way out. I figured out that my issue basically was that I had to jumpstart my own happiness again, but I wasn't sure how to go about it. I went to the self-help aisles in Barnes and Noble and didn't have a clue which book to pull. And on top of that, it just never seemed that any of them spoke to my situation. I didn't know what was most appropriate for my situation in terms of what was out there and published. On top of that, I didn't have the energy to complete the book, to complete the exercises. It just seemed so contrived and protracted and too much of an exercise. I just wanted somebody to tell me what to do, and I couldn't figure it out. So as I searched and searched for answers, I finally decided that the only real answer was to just go back to school and get a degree in this stuff. If I can heal myself, then surely it'll be worth it. So that's exactly what I did. I enrolled myself in graduate school for counseling and proceeded to seek out all of the answers, all of the textbooks, all of my professors, and try and get a handle on what was happening to me and how I could even start to see my way back to focus, clarity, and some sense of happiness in my life. I aced all my exams. I made A+ on papers, and my therapist and my classmates were so supportive. They thought I was going to be an awesome, awesome therapist. I wanted to believe them. But more times than not, after class, I would get back in my car and begin to cry yet again about my situation. Irony is truly the cruelest teacher, because I had no faith in my ability as a counselor, because I thought, how could I be that great of a counselor? I can't even figure out myself. I can't even bring myself back around to any sort of handle on what is going on in my life. The weeks turned into months, the months turned into semesters, and I began to accept that being in this sad, morose state was just my new normal, and I resigned myself to live with it for the most part. And so, as if things couldn't get worse, they did, because one afternoon I was sitting at my kitchen table opening the mail, came across the cell phone bill, which was unusually thick, and I momentarily panicked because I thought maybe this one did not get paid last month. Money was an issue, what with our attorney bills, moving expenses, and then of course I wasn't working, so it was a concern. I looked at the bill and started perusing the numbers, and there I saw multiple calls, multiple texts to the same number from my husband's phone at all hours of the day and night. I began to cry yet again, that unbeknownst to me, with all the other issues that were on the table, suddenly I had one more. And on the one hand, I thought, this is horrible. I felt humiliated. This shouldn't be happening to me. But then on the other hand, I thought, why wouldn't it happen to me? I am not exactly a barrel of monkeys to be around lately. All the conversations with my husband would somehow circle back around to me second-guessing our situation, second-guessing why we even moved to begin with. And I know he hated it. And now it was evident that there were some real problems that I hadn't even begun to take hold of. So I decided to keep at my studies, and there is a rest of the story. So I am going to just leave it right there. It's been about 10 minutes or so, and let you know that the story does have a happy ending. But it did take me to the point of basically setting myself on fire, so to speak, to get there. And so I am going to continue this video series tomorrow. Please join me for the rest of the story and more tips and tricks on how to get 2018 to be its best year ever for you. So join me tomorrow, and I'll look forward to seeing you then.